I think that all journalism should just be replaced by that guy taunting people who think they can do magic.
That is honestly such a gentle punishment for journalists. I
Hmm?
mean,
No, I
that's the
mean,
good ending.
they don't get their job. They don't have that job. All their jobs go to that guy, and he just like replaces
Oh,
Matthew Iglesias. He's just like he takes
so
over the New York Times, and just every article is just like try and kill me with
so
magic.
what you're saying in this scenario, the journalists do go into the oubliette of punishment.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
yes. There is no
Okay,
scenario in
thank you.
which
Oh,
I
I was getting worried.
there is no scenario in which I do not desire the maximalist punishment for journos sickos, as I call them. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Video Games Are the Worst Thing on Earth. I'm Alton. With me, as always, is Reese
Hello.
and Kay.
What up?
And we are returning because we have just a mountain of slop to get through. We left it quite late. 3 months since our last episode, and people just kept doing things, which goes against our recommendation.
There really is a massive, just difficult to remove pile of maneuver that has been deposited in the realm of gaming in the past couple months, and no one else will dig through it except us freaks.
That's right. So, getting us kicked off, we have Diablo 4. And the main thing we want to talk about this because none of us have investigated Diablo 4 at all for, I think, pretty obvious reasons, and that it's a Blizzard product. And a good Blizzard product is actually worse than if it was just slop, because it will, in fact, just make a whole bunch of insufferable gamer nerds be like, well, they've made a good video game, so all their crimes are forgiven.
Yeah.
Today, we'd like to dunk on Jason Schreier because he's so easy to fucking dunk on. He's like the guy who did so much of like the important investigative journalism for what the fuck's going on in Blizzard. And he's just like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Diablo 4 rules, ha ha ha. I'm going to lose so many hours of my life to this game. And it's just like, ugh.
It's
And
so
the
weird.
thing is, I don't want to cast aspersions on anyone who wants to play Diablo 4 or anything like that. I get it. The world is dying. It's fucked up. We have to get through however we can. However, you need to numb yourself to get through it. Like I'm with you. But it's so fucking funny for like a reporter to be like reporting on something so like dire, and then to just like turn right around and just be like, oh, I've been reporting on the terrible cost of the cocaine trade over the past 10 years, but you know what, boy, if it don't get you high, it's great.
You see, the thing about that is that I would definitely have a better time on cocaine than playing Diablo 4. Just 100%.
Unquestionably.
That's an easy call for me.
Oh, okay. Well, what about this? The Diablo 4 early access to Diablo 4 beta with order of KFC Double Down or qualifying sandwich at KFC, which has created just like one of the most incredible images in gaming of like
I love it.
the past couple of well, I was gonna say years, but more like weeks. There's just like the fucking Diablo 4 logo and like the main baddie just hovering over a double down, which if you don't know what that
Same.
is
That's me.
it is like bacon and cheese between two slices of fried chicken, like a sandwich, which is one of the abhorrent creations from the heart of darkness of the United States, which is, of course, the Midwest.
America.
And indeed, of course, always. And yeah, I think this is just something I wanted to just double feature. Jason Schreier being like, wow, what a great video game. And, obviously the things that he himself has reported on multiple times. And then just like crass commercialism of just like a satanic entity, like arms wide open, bat wings spread out, just like presenting to you a horrific confection.
Now, quick yank check.
Mhm.
Have either of you eaten a double down?
I
Don't know. I can't
I
remember.
looked I looked down the trigger at just like, oh, I could. I'm in the area where I could buy one, and it's just something happened in my stomach, and I moved on. So no, I don't think I can do that one.
That was your
I
body
need bread. I
saving
need
you.
bread there. It's just I need something to hold on to.
I
I
can't
don't get
fucking
it.
remember. Like, I might have, but the thing is, it was so utterly. If I had, it must have been so utterly bland and forgettable that I was just like, yeah, this is just like eating two like bland chicken strips with like some bacon in between. It's not
I count on you
good.
guys for this on the ground reporting.
Mm?
Um,
All right. Well, I guess we'll
so
have
Do
to.
you
maybe
have
it's
any
really nice.
idea
We
how
don't know.
many chicken specialty sandwiches come out every month for us to go through?
No,
We're not getting any younger here, Kay.
Americans are always talking about like chicken sandwiches as this ever-present thing in their culture, and I kind of want a
Mm,
chicken sandwich
it's going to be
actually.
really embarrassing if after this episode comes out, I just tweet out, okay, yeah, the double down rules. Ha ha ha. I'm going to lose so many hours of my life to this sandwich.
That's fucking true.
It's all the same chicken. It's all the same chicken. That's the thing. They
KFC
they made
chicken
this
is
thing
not
called the
good.
mega leg, where they made a fake big leg of chicken that you
Mm,
could buy and eat
What?
it.
What?
It's called the mega leg.
we
I
can't get into the
Patton
crimes
Oswald.
of KFC.
we, we,
Like,
we
Uh,
can.
no,
this
okay.
is not.
Well, the way I have to bring this up. Final Fantasy 14 had this concept where you would do a food raid and you would order like all of this food, and I
Oh
think that
my
they would give
God.
you the code with it. But like the idea was, is like you have to fucking raid through McDonald's and go through all of this fucking food with your friends if you want the black chocobo mount. And
What
and
the
and I think
fuck?
Blizzard should do that for real, but make it like 20,000 calories of KFC chicken.
And you have to
Jeez.
do it alone. Can't get any
Well,
help.
absolutely. You're in like a glass booth that's being like webcast on
People can throw
Twitch.
things in there though. There's no like roof on it.
Man, fuck. All right. Well, moving on, we just have something that's pretty much just like cringe binge, but also like a discussion for how marketing for video games has essentially destroyed people's capacity to critically and objectively think about video games in terms of
Mm.
quality. But this comes to us from the Octopath Traveler Steam forum, which when you hear it's from a Steam forum, you know it's going to be pretty much objectively the worst thing you've ever fucking heard in your life. Somehow worse than YouTube comments and Reddit. Just the most just is that term?
Scholarly.
Oh yeah, scholarly posts that have ever been made. But anyway, here's like this is a post from Jackass on the Octopath
Fair enough.
Traveler 2 forum. It says $499.99 for a 3 to 6 gigabyte game? Let me get this right. Resident Evil Remake cost £50 with around 35 to 60 gigabyte approx download when it's released. And Octopath Traveler 2, the same price for something like 3 to 6 gigabyte of data WTF question mark. So I don't know, what do you guys think about video games being estimated in the same way that you would like get like a pound of sweets from the penny sweet store?
I feel like there is an infestation in our culture, and it's called positivism, right? It's the approach that everything can and indeed must be broken down into some kind of measurable numerical data point. And so if you're trying to measure like art against each other, this is the kind of thing you come up with, and you don't have a brain anymore once you've done this.
Mm.
It's gone. There's nothing in there now.
Yeah, this is an automatic pay no mind person. Honestly, like a large game like that usually doesn't mean anything except like some sort of like weird like DRM or just their
4K foot
poor
textures.
yeah 4K textures that
Masterpiece.
any I think game that's like has the budget to do so usually has like the 4K textures as a separate download, that sort of thing.
100,000 polygons on the female character's ass.
Oh,
And
the new
like,
Mass Effect is out.
I mean, that's the thing is like 7 GB of that Resident Evil that you're downloading are Ada Wong's ass essentially.
Mm.
It's just that kind of game.
Well,
It's
that's
not
good value for money.
It's not 30 GB of Lady Dimitrescu and then 20 GB of gameplay. It's a little bit more complicated than that, and the needs are not in any way connected with gameplay. But
I think this guy's right. I think we should sell video games by the gigabyte. Just go
Yeah,
on
it won't
Steam.
destroy the medium. It's fine.
I just go on Steam and be like, I would like to purchase 20 gigabytes of your finest video games, and just have like a developer measure it out onto a scale and put it into a bag for you with like one of those little wire twisties to keep it from spilling out.
What I would really like is all of the my favorites and greats of gaming to be taken off the various platforms and then re-released with all the art assets stripped out, so they're
Oh, you could do a Hero of Nostalgia thing, except you have to purchase all the textures and and models. That would rule, actually.
That's gonna come out within the next 3 years. Actually, I'm gonna call that now.
I can't wait.
Why are you mad? They gave away the lighting. They gave
You
the
got
lighting
it for
free.
free. Yeah, you get the engine for free. Like, that's a
My
lot.
God.
I mean, you can't use it. You can't. You're licensed to just run it on your computer. You can't make anything with it.
I'm sending death threats to all my favorite developers right now to have this included in everything. So, Armored Core 6 better look like a fucking Pac-Man until you purchase all of the game assets.
Tell you what, I'm downloading as much Lady Dimitrescu as I can before we start getting charged per gig. There's
You're
gonna be
right.
a premium on
You're
this.
right. We gotta stock up on pixelated ass, polygon
Absolutely.
ass. We need it.
Also,
The internet-
importantly,
the
I can
internet-
fix her. So,
Oh, of course.
The Internet Lady Dimitrescu and her daughter's archive is a vital service. To
Oh,
the
fuck.
internet.
I forgot to add that to the list. The fucking shit about like the Internet Archive going down.
oh, that one's gonna make me do death threats, I think.
Oh man, but man,
Yeah,
it is. I will just say we won't get into it, but it is extremely funny that everyone is still extremely angry at Chuck Wendig.
The Internet Archive podcast had Chuck Wendig on, and from my understanding, had like a really like nuanced discussion about like the actual like underpinnings of it. And Chuck Wendig apologized, I think. And everybody's just like, fuck you, we don't care. Fuck you specifically. Because you're a little shithead. We know you. And I love it. I love it that he'll never live it down.
It's exactly like what we talked about in our Chuck Wendig podcast, is that the reason why people hate Chuck Wendig is, for one, he's extremely easy to hate, obnoxious, worst writer that you've ever fucking seen. Just visceral cringe reaction. So, reason number one. Reason number two, he has a human face and a human name, and it's easy. No, he does. Let's not get into Chipman territory here. But it's so much easier to yell at him than it is to like the four massive corporations that are actually pursuing this legally. But on the other hand, I still suspect that this little worm is the one that got this whole process kicked off, because you know that he has contacts with his publishers and they've been wanting to do this shit for ages, right? And none of this shit kicked off until after he raised a stink about it. So I really do suspect that he has more to do with this than he will admit to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chuck got like an email and he's like, oh, they're finally doing it. I'm excited. I'm just going to bitch about it online, thinking it's just another day of tweeting. But that is the most innocence I will
Perhaps. Yeah,
get
maybe
him.
it is like he's getting notifications from the publisher saying like, "Oh, your fucking horrible Star Wars books got looked at by 4 people online for
Wow.
free." Um and that's not really an exaggeration. Like,
Neil Gaiman was right in there too, until the second he started to look bad, and then he was like, "Oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I'm
Neil
just Neil
Gaiman
Gaiman."
is
Yeah.
such a fucking lib. Why
Yeah, he sucks.
why the fuck did we lose Terry Pratchett and keep Neil Gaiman?
I know. There should be a system where if we kill him in a certain way, Pratchett will be back. It's like a life trade kind of
Oh
machine,
fuck.
if we could maybe.
Because like Terry Pratchett is so much more fucking based than he ever was. Like
Yeah.
Terry Pratchett just like my main character in my fucking Discworld books, he loves to kill monarchs. That's his main thing. He loves killing them, and he's right to do so because they suck ass. And he just like, are you sure this person's British? He's just like he's too based.
The Reese conspiracy of the episode is that Neil Gaiman and Amanda Palmer performed some sort of ritual to take Terry Pratchett's like creative life force into themselves,
Mhm.
and that's how they still live to this day.
I mean, that's just what happened with Good Omen.
100%.
Anyway, man, that was a fucking tangent. Holy shit. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Games by the Gigabytes? Oh yeah, the Internet Archive.
Oh yeah.
Fuck Chuck Wendig. Go listen to our episode about him and with
Yeah.
our wonderful guest, Jack, who does the best impression of Chuck Wendig. That is spiritually accurate, if not factually so.
It sounds exactly like him. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's well, that's what his soul sounds like, at least.
Exactly. All right. So next topic: guy gets arrested for in Minecraft threat, which is
Oh yeah,
very
this one's
relevant
about
to
us.
us.
Well,
Yeah.
this is more of a PSA than a discussion topic.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
you know, I think this is very well worn ground. You know, this they know.
Yeah, they know we've talked about in earlier episodes, I believe, that thing from like the actual FBI that talks about how people talk about in Minecraft. So they know, unfortunately. So watch yourself. You got to find a new code. Someone in the comments to this tweet thread says, just say in Terraria. You know, I think that's a good
That's a
idea.
good idea. Yeah, that'll work. Or
That'll
maybe
work
in
so well.
hit game Diablo 4, you could say.
Oh yeah, in hit game Diablo 4, in slam dunk KFC double down. Fuck me.
The cops got nothing on you if you do that. I think.
Exactly. All right.
This
so
is legal advice.
next discussion topic, and I want to just like briefly go through this. I think there's a little bit to talk about that could be interesting, but recently a lot of people have been reacting to basically just the headline of this story, which is Ubisoft is testing an AI tool that writes NPC dialogue. And from actually reading the article, it's a lot less interesting than the headline makes it sound like. Like, the first thing you picture when you hear Ubisoft is using AI to write NPC dialogue is basically just a million fucking pounds of fluff added to their already bloated video games so that it becomes like an infinite trough of just the worst slop imaginable.
Yeah.
But reading into it, it's actually not that. And it's basically just that they're using it as a tool to help writers create bark trees, which are basically like things, NPCs reacting to player actions in various scenarios. And apparently this is quite a labor intensive process, which, you know, it would be in an Ubisoft game normally. And every single thing that is like generated by an AI is checked, edited, or rejected by a human writer.
Yeah.
And so it's like, to me, this is the actual use case of AI that makes a lot of sense, where you use it as a tool in an arsenal for your creative team to do like rapid prototyping, basically, or drafting.
So what this really reveals to me, and if anyone who thinks about it for a second will realize that these big studios, they have rigid workflows in a very it's a very professional setting more so than a creative setting, because these are huge companies and all these studios need to be able to work together, or departments in the studio.
Mm.
Um, and this feels like a good example of that attitude towards making a game where it is just about smoothing out that workflow as much as you can, which I think this will help to make Ubisoft's games just like 2% more bland,
Mm.
personally. But my big thing is, especially if it's so labor intensive, don't put barks in the game. Take them out. I don't ever want an NPC to comment on anything I do ever again. I hate it so much. Shut the fuck up, please. Remove them. Save everyone a lot of labor. That's my pitch.
They should just remove every NPC that like is just set dressing for their massive open world, so that they can pretend that it's a lived-in world.
Yeah. I think of all this stuff as sort of a metaphor to the kind of complaint about squibs versus digital blood. Because it's about like Kay said, a workflow where with squibs, you have to reset the shot every time. The whole dining room is getting blasted apart. You only get that one take. It takes a lot of time and effort, and there are safety concerns. So to streamline things, you just have an actor hold a plastic gun and say bang, and it just looks good enough, but it's pretty bad. There are some filmmakers that are able to work within that. I think there are a couple of Japanese filmmakers that make the digital blood look like very strange and artistic in like the kind of like these weird samurai movies, but most of the time it's going to be dog shit, because even if somebody's going over it, I feel like however labor intensive that process, the effort is on maximizing the workflow, not on anything creative in there. So it is a use case, but it's not a use case that makes me feel particularly good, but also I'm not, it seems like a pretty, like a thing that was a long time coming.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing for me is that AI is not really. I don't think AI should be a tool that's used as just like something to create like a finished product. Like to me, AI has always been the most interesting for sort of getting ideas and inspirations to work off of. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I've actually used something like that. Like this persona does not exist, and just scrolled through endless pages of AI generated personas, just looking for something to like inspire me to like create my own persona. And like I
Oh yeah,
see
that's
something
why I
that's
do that. It's for inspiration.
I'm just giving like a real world example of how I've used like AI in the past, and I see something that I'm just like that really resonates with me, and it's an AI, so it's like all blurry and weird and has artifacts, but I take that and then use it as a basis to really like develop that persona into something that more accurately reflects me. And
Yeah.
I've also used it, the Cray AI on AI image generator to create a bunch of Paul Atreides Fox personas, which has actually got some pretty interesting stylistic choices, I think. Well, not choices, it's an AI, but very, very cool stuff.
There was absolutely a time where I was quite enchanted with one of the, I think it was the Curio bot, where you'd like tweet it like a prompt and then you'd get the weird generated painting.
Yeah.
And I was moved by that. So I'm not going to write that stuff off entirely. At the same time, it's entirely anecdotal, but I think that, stuff like you're talking about makes total sense, just help get the ideas flowing. But I feel like the stuff I hear people talking about is more in line like, oh, we wanted to make a whole bunch of little guys in this one scene. And so, we just had the AI do it. And when I experienced the terrible gun game by Justin Roiland, you could see that in a lot of the art on the walls was I probably wouldn't have been able to tell, but it was very bland, sort of like generated crazy things that AI does, and
Mm.
Ugh.
probably had somebody cleaned it up. But I think it would have been better if they had just had a blank wall and had two funny posters that were
Mhm.
cool. I think
Yeah.
what Kay is talking about, where why not, if it's so labor intensive, if this sucks so much to do, why not just make the one cool thing that everybody's there for anyways? And I feel like a lot of times that gets lost, and it's a taste thing, so it's impossible to argue, but it's something I feel and believe when I'm looking through that stuff, even if I can't quite, if I couldn't pick one versus the other now, because it's so advanced, so they claim.
I mean, I
Mm.
think you could say it's a taste thing, but that's like saying, I would prefer for the audio in the film I'm watching to be, legible to human ears.
Mm-mm.
Like one
Christopher
is
Nolan has a
obviously
different
fucking worse.
taste with you than
Yeah, and
you
Mm.
he's
in that
wrong
subject.
and a dick and not really very good at making Batman movies, to be honest with
Damn.
you. I think people are
Christopher
far too
Nolan,
generous.
ETFO'd. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
buddy.
AI is such a complicated topic because when you say AI, there's like a million different things that you could mean. So, this example is text generation. I think it's probably like the simplest form of AI because it's really just taking something that an order of magnitude more complicated than like the random character background generators and like if you've ever used like Hero Forge or whatever, where you just like create a background for me and it's just like your village was destroyed by orcs, like kind of like Mad Libs. Um,
Yeah.
and then there's also like image upscaling, which is its own thing, which we've seen very, very horrible uses for in things like the GTA like definitive pack, the
Oh, that
trilogy.
sucked.
It was
Oh,
real bad. Like
Yeah.
no
Wow.
human oversight was put into upscaling the textures for that fucking game, and it shows. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's an example of a really terrible use of it. And then going back to like another like really well done use for AI is like the massive AI for like the Lord of the Rings movies, where it was used in a way that enhanced rather than detracted from the film by reducing the workload of like the animators and creating like these incredibly massive epic battle scenes that couldn't have been done otherwise.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
thing with AI, that the what I boiled it down to anyways, is I feel like AI can have good use cases, sure. But I feel like when a human being creates something, works on something, and that ends up being a failure or bad or however you judge it, the human element has a chance to make that interesting. It's usually bad for a more interesting reason. Not always, but it can be. But I feel like when AI stuff is bad or bland, is there's just like there's nothing below the surface there. It's just like,
Mm.
okay, well, moving on. And there's some things that I found to be really funny, like the pussy imps that people create.
Oh yes.
Are
Oh
some of
my
the
god.
weirdest imagery that ever be created. Yeah,
That's in
sorry.
reference to the person who created like AI images of incredibly busty women as just like a 2D image and tweeted out, "It is so over," implying that like yeah, physical women are over because we can look at just yeah, pussy centaurs.
There were it's just stuff. It's just like a woman with just like huge tits and two legs and like weird like lingerie like AI crafted around them. It's just like these things are fucking from hell. It's great. But I
Hmm.
feel like in AI,
They are
it's
my
like
girlfriends, but
one out of a billion. We get the pussy imp, and then the rest of the time, it's that dog shit Supergirl picture that somebody posted and said it's so over.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyway, let's move on from AI if you guys are ready
I'll try.
to
Moving
try.
in on.
All right. So we've got Hogwarts Legacy news to report, which is something that we didn't really touch on in previous ones because it was pretty much too depressing, as we'll get into in this article from stealthoptional.com by Jesse Gregor. Hogwarts Legacy players are too bored to play the game. Hogwarts Legacy outsold Elden Ring, but no one is playing it anymore. And basically, this article is talking about how the current player base, despite being released like a year after Elden Ring, has now dropped below the current player base of Elden Ring,
Way below.
even though it outsold it, which I think is just kind of indicative of how this is. It's a shallow fucking like Ubisoft open world game.
Yeah, it always looked bad. This is a bad game that got like culture war marketing to propel it into this position where it could sell so many copies that it just didn't merit.
And not only that, but in the article, not only are players just bored of exploring Hogwarts, but the ones that have played the game aren't actually finishing it. According to the thread, only a quarter of those who own the game on Steam have the Hero of Hogwarts achievement for completing the game's main story. It's interesting considering Hogwarts Legacy main story isn't overly long, can be completed in under 20 hours if you ignore side missions. Of course, these stats don't take into consideration those playing on other platforms, but these numbers usually follow the same sort of trends. So people aren't finishing it. The current player numbers have dropped below Elden Ring, which is like a year old. And so, hate to say I told you so, but I love to say it, actually.
I honestly think this is beyond the culture war stuff, even because this got pushed so hard. This was the AAA release for like fucking 2 months.
Yeah.
And just on every fucking digital storefront that could even be tangentially related to game, Hogwarts was front and center. So I got the feeling that a lot of people like Hogwarts or like Harry Potter. Still, they're not that plugged into the controversy or whatever, and so they just bought it. They don't care, and they played it for like 2 minutes, and they're just like, okay, a wizard with a dodge roll, dog shit, and moved on. I think this is like the people, the gamers, as a just hive mind saying this sucks. This game sucks.
Yeah. I mean, like, didn't they see it in all the marketing? Because they showed you some gameplay. I feel like people need to develop their bad game identifying skill set a little more. You should be able to tell the second you catch a whiff of like the menu in this game. Don't play that.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, like the Steam reviews are still extremely high, which is very odd given like statistics we just looked at. But I feel like gamers just really aren't, they aren't really conscious of why they aren't really getting hooked on the game. And I feel like part of it is just down to that we're suffering from a massive, I kind of suspect that gamers are suffering from a AAA burnout of this sort of big open world, busy work, Ubisoft sandbox game.
Well, the thing is, Harry Potter wasn't even up to snuff, I'd say, to those other AAA games. I think it was positioned that way because Harry Potter has the name. But I think even gamers were able to sort of reckon that they're just like, this is like Destiny, but Destiny has a bunch of like shooting and guns that has been refined over a long period of time. This has a heavy and light wand attack. And you look at it and there's just the same animation for 20 hours over and over and over again. And there's just no thought to the magic system and stuff. I would imagine as like, I don't know, if I was off the cuff creating a magic system in a game, seems like a real easy way to slip in a parry system rather than trying to just do XXY combos or whatever. But it's just none of that was thought. It's just get your blue hat so you can grind to the purple hat. It's absolute like dog shit. And so people saw that and they're like, oh man, I could barely sit through Guardians of the Galaxy by Square. No way am I sitting through this.
Well, it's also appropriate that Elden Ring is being brought up as comparison because, and I was saying this when we talked about it on the pod, properly, but I feel like it is marking such a skilled execution of open world games that all the frankly really poorly designed open world games that do get churned out can't still stand after this has hit public consumption. And
Mhm.
I feel like this Harry Potter game maybe before Elden Ring could have skirted by a bit better than it did, but there's a bar now that these games can be compared to, and it's just no, absolutely not.
I mean, it's a real
Shitty.
funny comparison to compare a game that has these kind of mysterious but rich characters versus like Harry Potter's like characterization of just being like, listen, they Themington, the non-binary wand keeper, is in this game.
You gotta love how they've carried forward the legacy of Harry Potter having like dog shit nominative determinism names that are just like, oh, the black one is Kingsley Shacklebolt and the Asian one
My
is
God.
Cho Chang.
Oh God, I hate it so much. Why would they do this?
The Irish one frequently blows things up by accident. It's really bad. Like many things of pretty much the whole thing actually of Harry Potter has aged poorly.
The Polish one keeps putting screen doors on their
Oh,
submarines.
okay. Well, I will defend that one because
That one's real. That one is
yeah,
real. I remember reading the books because I did read the books, when they
yeah,
were coming out because I'm elderly.
right,
Um,
same.
and I remember when Cho Chang was introduced, and I was like, that's not the name, right?
Mm,
What's happening on this page I just read? So I'm glad that the world kind of caught up and was like, no, wait, these books are kind of racist, huh?
yeah, that's not even getting into like the weird blood libel goblin plot line of the game, which
Yeah, oh my
we got
God.
into it previously, I'm pretty sure, which is just weird.
Yeah, why'd you write that, guys? What are we what's going on here?
I feel like another thing I wanted to say, I can't remember if I've talked about this or not, but as somebody who at one point as a child was into Harry Potter, this game completely misses the appeal of like the escapist fantasy that is Harry Potter. Like people don't want to play a Harry Potter game where it's just like, well, now I gotta go clear out 7 more bandit camps.
Ugh.
Like the ultimate fantasy of Harry Potter is like obviously number one, you were actually special all along,
Yep.
and two, what if school was actually cool to go to and fun? Um,
Also, what if you could exit British society, and join like a cult? That's the big one.
yeah. So it's just like I think for me, like the first two Harry Potter movies sort of capture that feeling.
Mhm.
Um, the best of the sort of very kind of escapist fantasy, and like, oh, they've got floating candles and like food just appears on the table, and obviously like with every subsequent book they're just like, actually that food is created with slave labor in a world where magic exists, just like
And they
okay.
like it.
And
They like
the
to be slaves.
slaves love it.
I mean, the first book is an actual children's book. You read it in an afternoon. You're just like,
Mhm.
the Sorcerer's Stone. What an adventure! And you move on. It's none of the Harry Potter shit quite yet.
Yeah.
And you could tell the void that J.K. Rowling just crams in there because it has become such a weird swirl of controversy. Like, there's absolutely fucking nothing else to talk about with that game, really, except how much J.K. Rowling sucks. It just, like, reverberates too loudly, and just anybody who is on the Nazi wavelength is also, like, reverberating. So all the VTubers, etc.,
Yeah.
are just... They see the dark shadow within Harry Potter, and then they see the same emptiness in themselves, and they respond to that. And I am really excited for for everything Harry Potter related to get interaried.
I agree. I think one of the like the names and stuff stand out so much, but something that always really stuck with me from the first Harry Potter book is that a character is hiding Voldemort under like a turban.
Mm.
And in the movie, I believe they cast a white guy to play that character, which was probably the best you could do with the material you were given.
I feel like I don't believe he was Arabic coded at least in the book because his name is Professor like Squirrel.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like who else wears that? You know?
Mhm.
Like that's a pretty specific item of clothing to that has a pretty singular sort of set of associations.
Yeah, he could have just worn a hat, come to think of it.
Yeah, could have
It-
been
It's
could have
like
been
a
a lot of
baseball
things.
cap.
A wig.
the second you start to pull on the Harry Potter thread, it collapses. But it can take you a little while before you do it because it's so slight otherwise. And it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, it's great. Glad we all like the wizards. The
Mm.
boy with the lightning tattoo. Hooray.
Sorry,
But
go
then
on.
later on, if they're just like, yeah, we're gonna get upset at each other in the woods for 400 pages. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Fuck
I'm
me.
glad
Yeah,
I
those
followed
last two
this.
books. I feel like
They're so bad. They're so shit.
that's what really like broke, for lack of a better term, the enchantment that series had over me. Like I was totally on board until like the last two books where I'm just like, what? These are fucking dog shit. What the fuck? This is such a horrible ending to a series that I have been very invested in as a child. And I was just like, at that point, I was like, okay, I don't give a shit about Harry Potter anymore. Whatever.
Yeah, I was really reading out of obligation after the fourth one. I used to have a real thing where if I start a series, I want to finish it.
Mm.
And that was the folly of youth. I know how valuable our time on this earth is now, and if something sucks that bad, it's much easier to
Mm.
walk away. It doesn't fucking matter. It won't be satisfying. If it's starting to suck, the ending's not gonna like make it okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite occurrences when watching a movie is the total shattering of suspension of disbelief. And you're just like, oh man, that's just Simon Pegg acting on the screen right there. This sucks. The most powerful moment of that I've ever had was in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. When Dobby dies and Daniel Radcliffe's like, we have to bury him. Like, I just saw Daniel Radcliffe like holding two green, dodgeballs or whatever they used. They're on the beach, and I just started fucking laughing, and my sister started laughing, and all the fucking nerds looked at us.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a just like, man, fuck cinema, fuck art. This
People got
sucks.
so fucking mad at Kay for tweeting something that was basically like all the twee British bullshit fucking sucks. I hate it. It's bad and
Yeah.
it should die.
Of all the leftist opinions you are attacked for, Kay, that is the one that is the most important that you die on.
Absolutely.
I think we as a society should bully people for being into twee bullshit like Harry Potter and Doctor Who, distilled nonce island culture right there.
First of all, that's a great tweet. I stand by that 100%. Yeah, a lot of Doctor Who fans got mad at being associated with Harry Potter as if, first of all, it's not 90% the same shit. And second of all, the idea that like I'm suggesting that they are transphobes for enjoying Harry Potter, like a lot of people really took it like that because to them consumption is politics.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the issue here. So it's like, no, I consume the good, unproblematic media, forgetting all the like apologia for British imperialism that Doctor Who does. But that doesn't matter because it's a stupid sci-fi show. It's fine to watch it, but you need to have the brain of an adult, maybe to parse why that is, which a lot of these people don't.
Well, the problem is IMHO, that the issue is not that they don't have the brain of an adult, it's that they started watching it before they did. And what can happen in a scenario like that is you create an emotional identity connection to a show or series. And when it gets in under your thick layers of adult cynicism like that, it can cause problems in terms of being able to rationally and objectively handle criticism of any media.
In this conversation, absolutely is Sherlock. Specifically because I'm sure most of the listeners are familiar with this, but just in case you're not, there was a moment in the Sherlock fandom where they decided that Holmes and Watson were gay, despite the text not supporting that at all, really. They were just convinced that at the very end they were going to kiss. They was all going to be realized, and then of course it didn't happen. And it's 100% was when prophecy fails type shit of just being like, no, they don't understand how gay they are. On some level, I respect it, but to me, it's the same sort of stew of identity and consumption that Harry Potter is absolutely the dark commandant of. But certainly, other British pieces of media are not innocent. Or American media, whatever, you know.
I think Alton was very generous in the way he characterized these people as, in fact, being, developed adults, but who maybe, their nostalgia and connection to these properties, bypasses some of that much-needed experience and cynicism. And I would, in contrast to that, I would say, no, they're giant babies.
Well, we're all about being fair and reasonable here on VGATWTOE.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll
That's
just...
us.
I think that is pretty much the fair, reasonable point, that they are just big babies, big man children, and woman children as well. Because I've known quite a few ladies who are weirdly into the British twee shit.
Yeah, I would say it's probably more. It's probably more women than men, I think. But that might just be Tumblr kind of tilting the way I view these things.
No, I mean I've met them in real life, and
I'm very sorry.
they're nice enough people, but like it is weird how into the twee British bullshit they are. Like, I wanted to comment on that, actually, that it was like there seems to be like it is exactly the same mechanism as consumerism anywhere else, but the people who get into twee British bullshit are like there for the twee British bullshit.
If I could Jordan Peterson psychoanalyze these people real quick, I think that twee British bullshit is often really focused around characters who are or believe they are, smarter and more specialer than everyone else. I think that's a real mainstay in all of these properties, certainly in Doctor Who and Sherlock. And it's kind of a thing in Harry Potter. And I think that attracts a kind of person who sucks a little bit.
Wow. Kay's just saying Kay's like saying like, oh, I wasn't saying that if you like this you're transphobic, but you are a giant baby and you do suck.
Yeah, I'm not really being serious at this point. I'm just laughing at.
I would like to put the
strange
disclaimer that Kay was drinking before the episode begins. Not that I'm particularly afraid of people listening to this getting angry. Like, if you're like some Hoolockian fucking motherfucker, I'm not exactly quaking in my boots that you are mad at us.
Let's not. We're starting a war that doesn't need to be fought.
True.
We might win, but who will be left?
Don't DM us. Definitely don't DM me. We won't respond or read it.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's move on.
Conky.
I'm done talking about Harry Potter.
Yeah. I want to talk about Bethany S. Mandel.
Hell yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I was quite busy during the period that this was happening, so I missed most of it. So I'm gonna be kind of experiencing this perhaps for the first time. So
all right.
Let's do that.
This is our cringe bin section. We don't have a jingle for it yet. We should have a jingle for the cringe binge. I think that would rule. But yeah, cringe binge, Bethany edition. And Reese, it seems like you have the greatest amount of hatred and detestment for this person, so I'll let you get us kicked off.
Absolutely the latest entry into my rogues gallery, the newest, most powerful woman in that gallery. So I think it all started, she's always been kind of a shithead opinion creator, opinion smith. And she was on Bad Faith, believe it or not. And Brianna Joy Gray asked her to define woke, and I don't even remember what she said. It wasn't honestly that interesting, but it was just gobbledygook. And everybody made fun of her. And she tried to play it off as, oh, I'm not owned. Oh, everybody just...
I would like to interject here slightly in that when asked to define what wokeness was, a thing that she had allegedly written an entire book about, it was not only was it gobbledygook, as you say, it was literally like 30 entire seconds of her going,
pure dumb shit. Pure dumb shit.
Like, not gobbledygook would have been better than literally just completely brain freezing and locking up like a malfunctioning robot. When gobbledygook is basically what every conservative online spouted out as an attempt to respond to this challenge to define wokeness. But anyway, continue.
This was not. This is not what activated me. This was very much in the background. So
Okay.
I didn't follow it as much at this point. But she did some kind of tweet where she said something like, "Well, Brianna Joy Gray was just such a bad mother," or something like that. That I was so horrified. I couldn't even think of what the definition of woke was. And then I think it was Ken Klippenstein or just people started retweeting the tweet where she killed her mother, and she's just like,
Yes.
I'm not ashamed of that decision. And it just started a flood of Ken Klippenstein, whatever his fucking name is, retweeting. It had to have been like 50 to 75. Every single one was insane. Like some were more felonious than others, but all insane and just 100% the most vapid, evil, stupid person to ever exist, ever. Like we joke at some of these other dunderheads, but like Bethany is there's not a lot of processing going on up there.
Listen,
I don't know. She's
Reese,
done.
I enjoy your diatribe against her, but in my opinion, it is better to show and not tell, or in this case, read her actual words. So I've just posted something in Article Link, which is probably not the best one to get started off on, but she posts a picture of her mask, and this is my mask after one day, and it's just like,
I remember this. I didn't know this was the same person.
Disgusting yellow, like phlegm all in the center of the fucking mask. It's really gross.
Oh, I don't have the power to delete messages in our Discord. That was legitimate. That is the worst thing. It's so fucking disgusting. I remember being actively nauseated on Twitter, just like closing it and just being like, no, time to play video games.
Yeah, there was a while where people were just posting that everywhere. Every other tweet was that fucking picture. It's so gross.
But to give people more idea of who this person is, let's read some of their tweets. I got a couple here pulled up. This one is from 2014 in reference to Palestine. Not nuking these fucking animals is the only restraint I expect, and that's only because the cloud would hurt Israelis. Just demonic, a horrifically evil post.
Yeah, least evil Zionist.
There's a couple more here. So here's the one that Ken retweeted. So grateful for my mom's most important life lesson. Don't accept unsatisfactory answers from customer service representatives.
Oh my God.
My maid is effing hilarious. Last week I was close to firing her, but now I never can. Jesus Christ. And I've got to read the mother one. Let me just find it real quickly. I'll save the best for last, in my opinion. Oh, fuck. I don't know if I can read this one. This one is from 2015, and Bethany says, in response to Slublog, amazing. I have a similar story. My mom had abortions before and after me. She was told I'd be severely mentally disabled and chose life anyway.
Well,
this isn't Cumtown, so we can't make too much hay of that.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it to
say
you
about that.
Yeah. No comment. Where's the fucking one where she kills her mom? Because she talks a lot about her mom.
Okay, well, while you're looking for that, my personal favorite, there's no one tweet that I can find that exemplifies it, but she has an absolute hatred of maids that is really funny to behold, where she's always talking about the churn with her maids. Find the one about her and her Roomba.
Oh, I found the tweet.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, this is from 2014, November 2nd. I watched my mom die. I took her off life support before we knew if she would survive because I had the choice to do it then. Just what the fuck?
What?
Yeah. So she's just like, oh man, fuck me. I got the chance to pull the plug on this bitch.
I'll take a
As
life.
somebody who not terribly long ago was in a similar situation, fucked up and evil, like actually not a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this
Jesus
person
Christ.
seems like they are actually from hell. And I don't know if they should
100%.
be allowed to be like walking around.
Yeah, it honestly does. It looks like her mask is like coated in some kind of demon sulfur. If you go back and look at it with kind of like a more occult mindset.
100% she smells like sulfur, just like Hillary and Obama.
Smells like sulfur.
Yeah.
The best moment is the tweet where she's talking about how her husband can't leave her alone in public because it was like 30 seconds before she screamed at a stranger.
Oh yeah. I think that will be easy to find.
Okay.
I think I've seen that one. That was one of the few I've seen and was like, I don't need any of this in my life.
And all of them, the husband, Seth Mandel, is just shrugging like, that's Bethany. It's so
Truly
funny that his
a
response
man.
initially to all of this was to say the cruelty is the point, which is the funniest thing for just like a wealthy arch-Zionist opinion family to say.
Yeah. So okay, here's the tweet thread. So Bethany Mandel tweets, special shout out for Ken Klippenstein, who made it necessary to do this. You were definitely owed a detailed explanation of the circumstances of my mother's death 20 years ago because of a tweet from 2014. I'm glad it gave me the opportunity to share it with the world. And then Seth Mandel says, the cruelty is the point, which is
He's actually talking about her pulling the plug.
Yeah, I would rarely level this Bob Chipman-esque charge at somebody, but I question her sentence. It is a lot of sort of feral urges and a mastery of language rattling around up there. That is just I just don't see anything going on.
I think this is actually not as unique as we'd like to imagine for people from her political world. I think that the internality that is created in a person from being what she is leads necessarily to evil in this way, and I think that she is worse at pretending that there's still a soul in there than maybe a lot of them are, and it shows.
Here's the Roomba tweet. The best part about my Roomba is she, yes, she's a she, vacuums for me and never judges me, unlike every other cleaning lady I've had.
All right, this is an ongoing saga with the cleaning lady. We need to check how many of them have been like found dead.
Yeah. And I found the train station tweet. So 35 seconds. That's how long Seth estimates I was alone in Penn Station without him next to me before I yelled at a stranger.
Just
It is a demonic person. Just holy
she's fucking
crap.
feral. Like, what the fuck is happening?
It's just a perfect framing. It's not, the tweet wasn't 35 seconds before I yelled at somebody. It's, we have our beleaguered straight man, Seth, letting his wife know that again, she has betrayed the norms of society by by throwing a salt shaker at a child at the Chuck E. Cheese.
Man. All right. So let's wrap this up with my final and favorite tweet from Bethany, which genuinely made my brain hurt after I looked at it. So this is from September 4th, 2012, from Bethany S. Mendel. I grew up on welfare, Medicaid, and food stamps. America is a meritocracy, and I made my own success myself. Sorry, DNC 2012. Which
Well, I don't even. What does that mean?
it
I don't know what it means.
she thinks she got zero help and made her success all by herself, even though she had welfare, Medicaid, and food stamps. It's one of the most deeply insane conservative things I've ever fucking seen. And it's sort of a perfect little encapsulation of how these people think.
I think I got 10% dumber reading that, so I'm going to stop thinking about it.
Yeah, this is our last one, but this one, it was just like literally like something The Onion would write as like one of their like little comment blurbs. in an article like interviewing like conservatives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never got help when I was growing up on welfare, Medicaid, and food stamps. I made my own success. Just like, ugh.
I think you're right to kind of describe it as this kind of I don't know, it's like this conservative id that has just taken over completely within her.
Yeah.
Like she's not even constructing sentences. She's just running it through her own personal, conservative text AI, just being like, Barack Obama, abortions, right? And just like 200 likes. Yeah, of course. Another renewal of her contract. Anyways, she sucks. Let's move on.
Exactly. There's a lot of things in the cringe binge, but I feel like we're sort of running out of time.
And we've got to make a stop, guys, at the horny corner.
That's right. I kind of want to wrap up on the Witcher 3 story because it's
Okay.
Let's do it.
It kind of ties these topics together. This is from Kotaku, Patricia Hernandez, in February 14th, 2023. Witcher 3 devs explain how, quote, unintended next-gen vaginas ended up in game. At long last, the
I
labia...
put them there.
At long last, the Labia Gate saga can come to a close. CD Projekt Red has confirmed to Kotaku that the realistically modeled vaginas that were recently found in the celebrated open-world RPG came from a mod, ... but not the one you might expect. Apparently, the latest version of the game, updated to take advantage of Xbox Series S/X and PlayStation 5, incorporated a mod called HD Monsters Reworked, aka HDMR, which unexpectedly included an update to certain female characters in-game. That PG-sounding mod, seemingly only intended to add realistic textures to in-game creatures, also incorporated elements of a totally different mod called Vaginas for Everyone.
Everyone.
Hell yes.
Which
Let's
is
go.
also
Let's go.
the main tagline of my 2028 political campaign for president. Quote,
You have my vote. Boom. Let's
quote, in
get all of them to the White
2021,
House.
at the time of signing the copyright transfer agreement, the HDMR mod author confirmed to CDPR that they were the sole author of the mod in question. A CD Projekt Red spokesman told Kotaku via email, quote, the HDMR mod author granted CD Projekt Red rights to use the mod, was credited and compensated for their work. We have contacted the HDMR author with questions for clarification. This claim is corroborated by the creator of the Vaginas for Everyone mod themselves, who tells Kotaku that back in 2019, they received a request from another mod author via DM. The modder says they didn't see it at the time, but the message allegedly asked for permission to incorporate their genitalia adjustments into a larger scale texture mod, HD Monsters Reworked. Well, Vaginas for Everyone's creator didn't respond back then, quote, the author of HD Monsters Reworked apparently nevertheless used my mod textures for his/her own mod, but also apparently never mentioned it or gave credit to me in the HD Monsters Reworked description page, the modder claims. This could theoretically explain why CD Projekt Red missed the inclusion of the realistic genitalia in the first place. There was no record of HDMR incorporating the realistically modeled vaginals in the original mod page, so CD Projekt Red had no reason to believe that they were there to begin with. So yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that there's now a job at CD Projekt Red for Pussy Inspector.
That's right. Whenever they incorporate mods, they gotta have the Pussy Inspector General check it for too high res pussies.
Geralt. I don't know what accent that was. Check out the pussies, Geralt.
Listen, all I know, I'm gonna fuck a drowner.
That's right.
Jesus Christ. I wonder if that's what they're incorporating the mod elements for.
It's got to be like, this is to be an add-on for like a sex mod, right? Like, I think that's a thing in Skyrim.
Monster fucking
It's gotta.
mod?
I mean, I know there's a lot of like porn mods. There's gotta be one where you can fuck monsters, right?
Probably.
Sound off in the comments. I know our listeners know the answer.
Yeah. So there you go. That's why labia were included in The Witcher 3. Oh, I think I know what it is there. I've looked at the links for like the not safe for work Reddit post that shares this. Apparently, they're just like blood covered cultists who are an enemy type who don't wear any clothes, and I believe that's probably where this was being used.
That sounds like plausible deniability to me.
Mm.
I do think it's funny that there was a pussy emergency over there at CD Projekt. Oh no, we have the inaccurate woman's body. Let's just all fix that and kill ourselves.
No, I mean this is not like a Reddit emergency. This is more like a CDPR emergency, which is a pretty Reddit company, but it is also very funny that they accidentally put this in their game. I mean, I kind of feel like people freaking out about it. It's kind of rich considering like how the first Witcher game just had like sex challenge cards you get for banging chicks in the game.
Yeah.
You're not too good for this.
Witchers has an incredibly lurid story. You know, there's the Bloody Baron quest is really like gross and melodramatic, and that's all fine. But I agree with you. Let's a couple pussies ain't exactly blowing the tone of that game.
I gotta say that one of the things that really is confusing to me about Western culture is how, like, you know, these games will put like, ooh, titties everywhere, and then like, oh fuck, a vagina. Oh no, cancel it. We just need more games where people are just hanging out with their junk out, and that goes for male characters as well.
We have to see Geralt's cock. Come on, fix the game.
Gotta see Geralt's cock, and like not like fully erect, full length like cock, like his little tiny chode when he's like going through like cold water with his pants
Absolutely.
off.
I'm just gonna say it. Witcher 4, give Geralt a pussy or no buy.
Yeah, he's gone through all the
pussy
the
out
Witcher...
the whole like the armor is modeled around the pussy being out the whole game.
Absolutely. He's got like cat eyes and shit. They've clearly done some modifications on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a pussy.
The Witcher formula, it turns out, is just hormone replacement therapy.
Don't make me like The Witcher. Don't make me like The Witcher.
Witcher 100% or Geralt 100% he's definitely a trans man. 100%.
Agreed.
It's canon.
Canon, and on that bombshell, that's all the time we have for today, folks. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And Kay, where can people find you on the internet if they want more great content?
Oh, me? You can find me on YouTube at Kay and Skittles. Watch my fucking videos, or I'm gonna come to your house. And you can
show you the videos.
I'm gonna show you those fucking videos.
I'm gonna come to your house and show you HD texture packs of Geralt of Rivia's pussy.
And you're gonna fucking like it. You can follow me on the Twitter, also at K and Skittles, and I will be posting Geralt's puss. Excellent.
All right, Reese, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Your Very Good Bud on Twitter, and also on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Okay, was there something came up?
Oh no, I was trying to help Reese by saying it's not funny, because they seemed to find something funny.
I'm still
still thinking about Geralt's.
I'm still thinking about Geralt's pussy. That's what I think's funny. That's what I'm laughing about. I didn't want to say anything. I was gonna make another joke, but I wanted to wrap up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you can find me on Twitter at 8alton8. You can find me on twitch.tv/alton8, where we are playing a lot of cool co-op games together, like Solasta. Lastly, there's my YouTube page that I never update, so just, go find that. Doesn't matter. You can find more on our website at videogamesartheworst.pinecast.co and patreon.com/VGATWTOE, where $1 a month gets you access to all of our sweet premium features, including the one that Reese will finish this month.
Yes. Also, check out CRT sound system.
Oh, yeah.
No explanation.
Hell yeah, do it.
Goodbye, everyone.